Tuesday, March 15th at 10:20 a.m. I am Matthew Gearing.
And I'm Jerica Corda.
We are at Catholic Charities Diocese of Charlotte, and we are interviewing Miss Sandy Buck.
So we're here trying to figure out the background organization, Miss Buck. Would you like to start on an overall thing, and we can possibly come up with questions to dive into the more insides of it?
Okay. Catholic Charities in the Diocese of Charlotte is an agency of Catholic Charities USA, which is one of the largest charitable organizations in the world, and we're also part of the Diocese of Charlotte. So we cover, in terms of service area, about half the state of North Carolina, from about Winston-Salem over to the western edge of the state. We have three main offices. This is what you might call your home office. Here in Charlotte, we have an office in Winston-Salem and an office in Asheville, and a couple other smaller satellite offices that don't do anything with refugees. Most of the refugee resettlement activity takes place here in Charlotte. We do have a little bit of refugee activity in Asheville, not resettlement, but immigration type things. We work through a partnership with the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. So backing up a little, the U.S. State Department works with 9 non-governmental organizations to resettle refugees, and the USCCB is one of those, and we resettle through a partnership with USCCB. So we are told by USCCB who's coming, when they're coming, and then we take care of all the details to get them here and settled into Charlotte.
So you say that you're cover about half of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
How many would you say refugees on average you hope a year?
Our office resettles between 300 and 400 refugees each year, and that number will fluctuate depending on how many are coming into the United States. The president sets the number every year. He has increased the number for next year. Politics, what they are, that could change. And so, we are planning to resettle 375 next year.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
What is the main mission of the organization among refugees?
So our main goal with the refugees is to have them become self-sufficient as quickly as possible. So that includes helping them to get jobs so that they can pay their rent, pay their bills. They have to repay their travel loan. So that's kind of like the main goal of everything that we do with the refugees, is to get them self-sufficient.
So from what we've learned so far, there's a 90-day period in which they get help.
So we do things a little different here. The 90 days is that first 90 day that we call reception and placement. That's what we're responsible for with our agreement with the USCCB. We have additional federal funding that allows us to keep our cases open for 6 months. So we actually serve our clients 6 months. And in just a quick nutshell, when we find out they're coming, the first thing we do is go get them an apartment. Some cases are free cases, meaning they come, they don't have any family here. Some cases have a U.S. tie. So if there is a U.S. tie, we will go and meet with that person before the refugee arrives, and we will set up some type of arrangement with them for them to assist us with resettlement needs. And sometimes there is a challenge right now with housing in Charlotte. Sometimes the refugees will actually come and live with their U.S. tie, or what we call their sponsor, until we can get them set up in their own place. So some come as singles, some come as families. That also makes a difference where we end up moving them. When they arrive, they come with a stipend from the State Department, and we use that money to prepay their rent as far as we can. The bigger family will have better leverage in terms of paying their rent because they'll have more money. So if we can pay 3-4 months of their rent, we try to do that so that when they come, they can focus on getting settled and not have to worry about that. So no, they don't have to. They sign a lease. Once they come and get their social security number, they can sign the lease, and usually the lease is for a year. And many of our refugees stay in the apartments that we put them in for many, many years. So yeah, they don't have to move out. They do need to start paying their expenses, utilities, They get cash assistance from the government and food stamps, Medicaid when they first arrive. They are here legally, so they get all that benefit. And then our job is to get them employed. Once they're employed, then they can go off that cash assistance. And our employment staff will work with them as long as they need. So we try to get them jobs as quickly as possible, but sometimes a job won't work out, or they'll need another job, and they continue to come back here and work with our employment staff as long as they need to keep themselves employed.
What are some of the biggest challenges that they face when they come here?
Probably the greatest challenge is language. You really need to be able to communicate, and having little or usually no English is definitely an impediment to them becoming self-sufficient. One of the first things we do when they come is sign them up for ESL classes. We have a partnership with CPCC, and our refugees go over there to learn English. But sometimes they can't do that. You have a mom with small children in the house, she can't get to class. If we manage to get them a job right away, they're going to work, and then maybe they can't go to class. So English is probably their biggest issue. And then sometimes education plays a part. Depending on where they're coming from and whether or not they've had any education, that limits their ability to get higher paying jobs.
For other challenges aside from the language barrier, of course, has there been any what's it called? Disturbances and people not wanting them here, and where you had to step in to help them out with that? Has that ever occurred?
Charlotte is a very welcoming city, and our current mayor is very much invested in us being a welcoming city. So we really haven't seen the pushback. There's a lot of national press, especially back in the fall with the Syrian issue. And we have, like I said, resettled 2 Syrian families. And what we found was when the news hit, we started getting many, many phone calls of support. People who wanted to help, who disagreed with the national rhetoric and said, these are our brothers and sisters and we want to do what we can to help them. The 2 Syrian families had so much help they didn't know what to do with it. We had to keep reminding people that we resettle people all the time, and the ones from Syria don't need any more help than the ones from Burma or Ethiopia or wherever else they're coming from. So yet locally,
Say thank you very much. This is the end of the Tuesday, March 15th interview with Miss Sandy Buck.